Good morning from Mission Dolores Park in San Francisco. Here is our bonus footage for part 2 of the food chain. If you didn't see the main episode on Animal Bites TV this week, we mentioned at least 2 reasons that the white shark uses ambush against pinnipeds. One reason was that pinnipeds are more maneuverable than white sharks. Another reason is self-preservation, in the fact that seals are actually quite capable of doing some damage to the white shark. And the third reason that I didn't mention, that's pretty obvious, is the countershading, the camouflage. When you're diving cageless with white sharks, you quickly become aware of just how good their countershading is as you look around trying to find them. What's that seal doing in the meantime?
The seal's looking out for the shark.
He's just,
it has its head in the water.
Yeah.
It's kind of flippers in the air and it's looking around. And and the thing is with the white sharks and the seals is that the sharks have the upper hand as long as they can ambush the seals. But if the seals can see the sharks, then the favor goes to the seals because they're very maneuverable and can actually outmaneuver the sharks. So it's very important for the sharks to use ambush and kind of the element of surprise.
so it's important for it to be down below.
Yeah.
Tagging studies have shown that the sharks traditionally are swimming mid-water to slightly lower water at Seal Island, below the bottom half of the water column, and then they'll follow their prey for a protracted period and then use a very high-speed upward motion to catch their prey. So it's very rare that you see them chasing on the surface. But one of the interesting things we saw year before last was we were watching a shark swimming on the surface and a group of seals coming in a few hundred yards away. And we actually watched the shark. It was a beautiful calm day. Hear the seals coming in the distance, change its course, swim, 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 and when it was about 80 to 100 yards away, really turn on the speed on the surface. It was like watching a missile or torpedo just below the surface going for these seals, and we watched the whole interaction very visually. So that was a very graphic and different sort of hunting event. I think what people find surprising is the fact that sometimes when they're injured seals, the sharks don't just rush in and kill them. They're actually quite wary of them. And on some occasions, we've actually watched very sick or very badly injured seals floundering on the surface, just swimming slowly away from the island that you'd think would be the easiest of targets, but the sharks cautiously circle them. And in a couple of instances, we've actually watched the sharks circle, sometimes for half an hour and then swim away from them. And I think that they're so instinctively honed to chasing seals that are doing natural porpoising behavior, moving away at speed, that when something is completely different, they're actually quite wary of it and sometimes adopt a different technique until they're 100% comfortable, either that they can catch and kill this thing or also not sure of it and they actually move away from it.
It's like a self-preservation instinct.
Yeah, on other occasions we've seen 6 seals where sharks have just come in and nailed them, and that's probably because the sharks had a similar experience before and it knows it doesn't pose a threat to it. But in some cases they're very wary of them and they actually, watch that seal and just swim circles around and then go away.
So it's important to them to deliver a devastating blow right from the beginning.
Yeah, I think absolutely, especially in the case of a seal, because a seal can bite and claw them, and whilst that won't kill a shark directly, if it was to lose an eye, it could kill a shark indirectly. So the shark really wants to be sure of debilitating or immobilizing that animal as quickly as it can.
I think there's a tendency to think of the seals as this defenseless animal, and it's all one-sided. Tell me damage that you've seen on the sharks inflicted by a seal.
Well, particularly in the case of a place like Seal Island, you see a huge amount of damage to the sharks in the form of scratches and bite marks and claw marks. And when the seal's in the shark's mouth, as you would expect, it's fighting for its life, so it uses the only defenses it has at its disposal, and that's to bite and to claw. And it's in the shark's mouth, so the natural areas are closest to the shark's mouth. So the seals claw and bite all these areas here, and you sometimes see sharks that their faces look like somebody's had a game of noughts and crosses on their faces. You know, it's just scratch marks everywhere. And you know, the seals have got the agility and they've got the endurance, so they'll outlast a shark generally. And they've got the agility that once the sharks chase it, that they can move and jinx and turn far quicker than the sharks can. But the sharks got the power and the speed. So it's this beautiful balance